Hi people, my innovation back here again as always, Andrew, as usual. Yeah, in this video I'm briefly going to discuss, as you can tell as always, Andrew, as usual, based on the header of this video, the Roman Empire. Now, before I begin and I show you guys what I'm about to show you, I've already, as followers of mine and or people that might have noticed it in my playlist, The Occult Alignment of Empires, have already seen that I covered my beloved Eastern Roman Empire, aka the Byzantine Empire, as well as the Western Roman Empire. And I discussed that the Eastern Romans were lunar and the Western Romans were Martian. Now, in this video, I'm going to briefly go into detail, and then as the icing on the cake, I'm going to finish things off by discussing the entire Roman Empire, so the entirety and its occult alignment, so pre-split. I'm sorry, I said pre-split. So before they split into East and West. Now let's start off with my beloved Eastern Roman Empire first. This is what, focus only on the 10th house astrologically. You're seeing Scorpio here, and Venus is in Scorpio, and you might think to yourself, but wait a minute, does that not mean that they're Martian? No, actually, it's not a black and white matter. You need to remember that the moon rules water as a whole elementally, and therefore is strong in all water signs, so astrologically. So Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, so they are lunar. Now, Scorpio specifically stands for the Byzantines and the wars they fought and the expenditures they just plain spent. All the money they spent on costing as well as facilitating their own well-being. So don't just think of typical classical Western Roman warlike style, no. The Byzantines were focused a lot on not only going to war, but also paying off their enemies and their opponents to leave them alone, to put it that way. Any person that's familiar with the Byzantines, the Eastern Romans, know what they were all about. So a lot of lavishness in the way of, hey, I'll pay you if you just leave me alone, since I can't beat you militarily and whatnot under given conditions and or circumstances, as well as trade, making a lot of money and whatnot. That's why Venus is also here in Scorpio. Now, that is it for the Byzantine Empire. Now, for the Western Roman Empire, you're seeing a lot of Aries here, and yeah, don't be fooled by the midheaven being, or just plain midheaven being in Pisces, because that would make you also say, but wait a minute, does that not mean that they're Jupiterian Marino? No, it's not a black and white issue. The sections that you're seeing here, the Earth, Chiron going retrograde, and the North Node being stationary in Aries, is what people remember about Rome, the whole Roman legions and the legionaries and all of that, blah, blah, blah. That's what people remember it for. That's their warlike aspect. Okay? The Earth in Aries simply stands for conquering or gaining more territory by martial means. Chiron going retrograde in the same zodiac sign, so Aries stands for the treaties they had, which were of an unreliable nature because they would easily break treaties as easily as they made them, generally as well as overall, for the purposes of expansion. That's why the Earth and Chiron are right next to each other. They're conjunct one another. And the North Node simply stands for, it being stationary simply stands for the Romans not changing their nature, that they should have focused more on being at peace with their enemies, according to the South Node, but obviously that never happened in general. Now, the reason that midheaven is in Pisces and hints at Jupiterianness indirectly is because Rome was a large empire. The Western Roman Empire, even as a whole, was quite large. You know, it encompassed several people of different tribes, cultures, and blah blah blah. And of course, you're also seeing the Pot of Fortune as well as Neptune going retrograde in Pisces, conjunct midheaven. This simply stands for them attaining that territory through subjugation. Let's just put it that way. Mental subjugation, not so much martial subjugation, but mental subjugation. And that ironically also came back to bite them in the ass, since in the end they were conquered by the very people they once conquered. That's what Neptune in retrograde stands for. Even the degree stands for subjugation within given context. So it was the basis, it laid the foundation for the tremendous expansion-based success as well as their downfall. That's it. And last but not least, Here we have the Roman Empire pre-split. Now, the Roman Empire pre-split doesn't really have a specific occult alignment in terms of just anything. The Roman Empire that we knew pre-split, so before it split into East and West, was just an amalgamation of different factors and whatnot. You're seeing a strong Libra influence here, so you can call them Venusian. In theory, they are Venusian. If you absolutely had to give them some planetary alignment, yeah. Rome as a whole was Venusian. That's why you're seeing the strong Venusian alignment. Midheaven being in Libra, Mercury being in Libra, and even Venus being here, albeit in Scorpio. And you've got the Sun and Juno conjunct midheaven even. Now, all of that simply stands for the fact that Rome was balanced, honestly, overall. It was well balanced in the sense that it wasn't all about war and whatnot. Society as a whole was, relatively speaking, well balanced. Both people interacting with each other, as well as daily dealings overall, as well as intellect and whatnot. People in daily life, I mean the lives of people in Rome. People that went about their day-to-day lives, they weren't obviously at war with each other. War was only one component, but they were balanced. Okay, keyword balance. And Venus being here in Scorpio stands for the war we all knew that Rome fought, the wars they fought, and the money they spent on it, all of it, all the money they spent on it, etc. So that was Rome pre-split, what they were all about. So pre-split Rome was Venusian. Bye-bye.